Hello, people. Another beautiful day. Yeah. Hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good. What? Look, we talking about Crystal Dynamics and the Avengers. You know, I don't think Crystal Dynamics understand what time frame of video games we're living in. I don't think they really understood this. WB Games with DC Universe. No, back up. I would say Final Fantasy 12. Let me keep going here. WB Games and DC Universe laid the blueprint out for how superhero games are supposed to be from here on out, right? They laid the blueprint out, and like, this is the format, this is the layout, and this is how it needs to be. If you're gonna make a superhero game, this is the format that it needs to be in. So, the Batman Arkham series followed that blueprint. Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales followed that blueprint. So, when it comes to Crystal Dynamics, I don't think they understand the time frame of video games we were in. When it comes to the Avengers, when they got the Avengers, they probably thought, oh, we just make an Avengers game and then call it a day. But I don't think they understood the time of video games and the format that the Avengers need to be in. So when they built the Avengers, I guess they thought they was gonna get by with it. And then when the gamers, aka consumers or customers, played the Avengers, they were disappointed, because when they played DC Universe and Batman Arkham Asylum, and then they played Spider-Man, they were expecting the same thing from the Avengers, and what they got was straight disappointment, because their movement, they were limited. They couldn't go where they want to go, or do what they want to do, okay, or play how they want to play. They were limited. Then on top of that, their superheroes didn't have the same amount of freedom like you would in DC Universe, like you would be in, like, say, in Batman Arkham Knight, Arkham Origins, like you would say in Spider-Man and Miles Morales. They didn't have that freedom. So to me, Crystal Dynamics didn't understand the time frame of video games we are in. Okay, and the format that they had the Avengers in was the wrong format. That type of format might have worked during the Xbox 360, PlayStation years, but when it came to the PS4, Xbox One, or Xbox One, PS4, everything became open world now. Open world games are the new thing now, and that's where games need to be at. So Crystal Dynamics didn't follow the blueprint that WB Game laid out with DC Universe, and that's why most people are disappointed with the Avengers, because they were expecting more, from that game, and when they saw it, they went off. They went off. They went off. They let Crystal Dynamics know how they felt, because gamers felt cheated. A lot of gamers felt cheated with the Avengers. They're probably saying, like, okay, how comes the Hulk can't get up to the top of a building, or how comes Iron Man can't get to the clouds, or how does Thor can't get up to the top of a building, or how comes I don't have the same freedom of movement, go where I want to go, do what I want to do, like I would in DC universe, but I don't have that type of freedom in the Avengers, and and a lot of people are upset with that. And then when you look at Crystal Dynamics and who they were working with, that says it all in a nutshell. You got Sony and Square Enix to deal with. Sony and Square Enix, like I told you before, they're partners in crime since PlayStation 1. So every time Crystal Dynamics made a move, they got to go through Square and Sony before they can get it out. And when you saw the Avengers, you noticed, Crystal Dynamics started making crazy changes, from changing the leveling system to now you're buying cosmetics, from the PlayStation Store. And then you got Sony, they're sitting here dangling Spider-Man like a carrot on a string to make you to make you think that Spider-Man can save the Avengers. But Spider-Man didn't do anything for the Avengers, because there's a big difference between Spider-Man on the Avengers versus Spider-Man being in the main Spider-Man game for the PS4, and then there's Spider-Man Miles Morales. There's a big difference. You don't have the same freedom of do what you want to do, go where you want to go, like you would in Spider-Man Miles Morales. You don't have that movement in the Avengers. You can't run up no walls or do the things like you would do in Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. So DC Universe really laid the blueprint out when it comes to superhero games and how they're supposed to be. And Crystal Dynamics didn't understand this, and it shows in the Avengers, man. Because when you put limitations on superheroes like that, especially with the horsepower and graphical capabilities of the Xbox One, PS4, the Xbox One, the Xbox One, PS4, and the Xbox Series X, PS5, man, that shows that you're not. It shows that you're not up. You were never up for the task. You didn't understand the formula. You didn't understand the formula for superhero games. WB Games with DC Universe, plus the Batman Arkham series with Rocksteady and WB Games, they laid the blueprint out with those four games, with DC Universe, Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and then Arkham Knight. 5 games. Those 5 games laid the blueprint out on what a superhero game's supposed to be. Insomniac Games followed that blueprint with Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. And you can see it. Because when Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, Insomniac Games utilize those superheroes to the fullest. They can go where they want to do, go where they want to go, do what they want to do, go get up to the clouds, get up to the highest building they want to, and look down, look around, and crawl, run, swing how they want to swing, and whatever, So, with Insomniac Games followed that blueprint. But Crystal Dynamics now, they did not follow the blueprint. They did not understand the formula and the time frame of video games that we're in. Because when it comes to the Xbox One, PS4, we were really into open world games and go where you want to go, do what you want to do, man. So Crystal Dynamics didn't know, and then you got Square and Sony to deal with because of their relationship and their history. That made it bad news for the Avengers. Then Squaresoft made the move of getting rid of studios. So now you don't need video game publishers anymore. Video game publishers now, they're dead now. You don't need them, because now with the Xbox One and PS4, or Xbox Series X, PS5, you got PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Network, or PlayStation Plus with Game Pass. So when a developer now, when they come out, they don't have to rely on a publisher to get their games published. They can go to Game Pass and PlayStation Plus and publish their games that way, and people will get to know about it. Because sitting there waiting on a developer to get your game published, that's a lot of time wasted. So what Game Pass and PlayStation Plus do now is minimize that now. So now, instead of going to a publisher to hoping that they can help you get your game published, you just go to PlayStation Plus and Game Pass and get your game published there. So to me right now, video game publishers are dead. But with Crystal Dynamics, man, they didn't understand this. They didn't understand what time frame of video games we were in. And that's why the Avengers fail. Because even the open world games that the Xbox One, PS4 should have been a clear warning to Crystal Dynamics to let them know, like, okay, this is the era of gaming we're in. We're in open world games now. So you can't limit today's players. You can't limit them. So they should have taken the blueprint and said, okay, this is what we need to follow. They didn't. They went against it, and look what happened to the Avengers. So yeah. And then when I was playing the Avengers, when I was coming up, Spider-Man had his own game. But the Avengers, it was Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Vision, and I think Submariner. Those were the main five. And Spider-Man wasn't part of the Avengers. But now that I did the research on this now, Spider-Man now is a part of the Avengers. So, the Avengers, I think they have like 50. The Avengers is made up of 15 characters, if I'm not mistaken. And Crystal Dynamics should have known that if they're going to make an Avengers game in 2022 or 2021 or 2020, that the game has to be open world, go where you want to go, do what you want to do, and they put limitations on it and on the superheroes, and it didn't work. It didn't go too well for them. So to me, they need to go back and remake those games. They need to remake the Avengers, and bring it up to DC Universe standards. That's what they need to do. They really need to take the Avengers and bring it up to DC Universe standards, so it can thrive and so it can grow, and then you can add all your other Avenger characters that make up the list, plus all the villains, and then go from there. But yeah, they just didn't follow the blueprint, man. When you really look at it, So yeah, the Avengers, man. It was a big disappointment, man. Because if you look at Anthem, if you look at Anthem from EA, that lets you know what type of era of gaming we're at. If you look at Destiny, you know the type of era of gaming we're in. If you look at DC Universe, if you look at say Skyrim, you know what type of, or Elder Scrolls Online, you know what type of gaming we're in. So Crystal Dynamics should have followed the blueprint that WB Games with DC Universe, Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham Origin, and Arkham Knight. They should have followed that blueprint and then go on from there. But they didn't. They went against it, and the Avengers suffered, man. And so many people were looking forward to this game. A lot of Avengers fans, they were looking forward to this, to see Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, Hawkeye, and the rest of the Avengers get robbed by Crystal Dynamics, Sony, and Square like that, it's a big letdown, man. So yeah, they need to take the Avengers back to the drawing board and remake it. They really need to do that. You know, they really need to up and bring it up to DC Universe standards, and then go on from there. You know, because we're in the open world gaming era, and you can't go back from open world to the way games were. Can't go back to that format, that old format of gaming now. We're in the open world gaming right now, and that's where the Avengers need to be. You know, Crystal Dynamics really need to. I will give them a year. I'll say between now. I will give them 6 months to really change the formula for the Avengers. They need to take this back to the drawing board and come out with an update and give it a good upgrade and bring the Avengers up to DC Universe standards, to where the Hulk can get to any to the top of any building he wants to. Captain America can do it. Hawkeye can do it. Thor can do it. Iron Man can do it, and then go on from there, man. Because if they keep the Avengers in the current state that it is, it's not gonna be that. It's not gonna be good for the game, man. That game need to be like DC Universe. Go where you want to go. Where you want to go. Travel how you want to travel. Do what you want to do. And that's what they need to do. But anyway, that's my little rant about the Avengers and Crystal Dynamics. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars or Star Trek thing, or Dark Side. Go.